Welcome back to To Love Ru Anime Review Part 3. This one discussing 5 episodes this time instead of 4, discussing episodes 9 to 13. Why did they go straight to 13? For good reason. The reason is pure and simple. I wanted to be halfway through this series. That's the gist of it. Now, like usual, of course, this thing does skip around chapters. Now, what chapters are basically loosely adapted for these episodes? Well, 30, 35, 38, and 47 to 48. Well, in the case of episode 9, mostly put, this is just an anime original episode. Yeah, I think all they do for chapter 30 for this one, just adapt like the first couple pages, and that's it. I think that more of this chapter probably in the final episode of the series, of this original one. Yep, this one involves basically a childhood friend of course, well, Lala, who wants to basically make her make her his fiance, and of course the guy basically just a rocket man. He just flies over the place, gets lost, and then he's basically outwitted by the school nurse, who turns out she's an alien, and she knew all along Lala was an alien because of the tail. And it turns out she's an alien. What species is she? They don't say. And he's basically tied up, set up the space, and never seen again. It almost seems as though most of this episode was complete anime original, with the exception of the opening bit. Now, in the case of episode 10, oh yeah, this one is anime original, alright. Yes, another episode featuring an old friend of Lala's, this time basically trying to make her an idol. Basically, intergalactic singer. Which she tries. And then after she declines because she's engaged to, well, Rito, a little bit more basically that it's a little better done in the anime than it is in the manga, like, where it kind of thinks it's not like that, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. So what does this woman do? Tries to recruit Haruna. And of course Rito tries to stop her. Multiple times the whole episode. And of course he gets getting, like, whenever he tries to save her, he ends up getting slapped a lot in this episode. A lot more than usual per se. And then of course she leaves. Of course she's basically turned to stone a couple times. First time when she finds out that Lala's engaged. And the second time because they found out, oh yeah, apparently her talent agency has been skipping on taxes. Tax evasion! Fly home! Yep. By far, in my opinion, the most pointless episode of the entire series. It's nice to introduce a new character, but I kind of wish this character would stick around. Yep. Now, in the case of episode number 11, this one's quite interesting. This one does introduce a new character. A character by the name of Golden Darkness, who is an assassin. Now, unlike the other episodes, this one has 4 chapters, and here's a shock, they keep a lot in from the manga. Which, that is something for this series. Oh yes. I mean, yeah, a lot of basically 35 out, but 36, 38? Wow, they keep a lot of it in, though they do make a slight change, which makes total sense. I don't mind the change at all. Yeah, so basically, the things now they do have a slight change here because in the actual anime, where basically we have it where we start with Lala's giving her monthly allowance from her bodyguard, and Mikan's like, really, you rearranged my living room just for this? Okay, and of course he's just like wondering where's the grooming to be, and he's like, oh, I sent him on the shop. I sent him basically to some errands. Now this actually is a change from the manga. We're thinking, how is this a change from the manga if this is similar to how it is in the actual presented? Well, because in the actual manga, it's actually Rito's father who sent him on this particular quest. Yeah, he's nowhere in the episode. I don't think he appears in the series. I don't know if he does or not. Yeah, they didn't introduce him at all for some reason. And it's actually the sister, Mikan, who sends him out. Oh, also, I should point out, though, his outfit is completely different compared in the actual manga itself. In the actual anime, it's mostly like a hooded sweater. Here, it's in the manga, it's like a jacket, where it does pretty much the same thing. Goes shopping. He runs into Haruna, which I think they added that to the anime because they gave a little more to do than he actually is in the manga. Then they run to Golden Darkness. Basically, the whole scene is completely the same. Though, they do cut something else here. They cut the scene of Lala going to her spaceship. Yeah, she goes back to her spaceship, which is in Earth orbit, for pretty much almost the entire series. And this is only just episode number 11 of the series. And still, no appearance by her spaceship since the pilot episode of the series. Which I'm like, really? Why would you show her lab? Nope, don't show her lab for some reason. Don't bother to show the fact. Now, they just keep who's behind who ordered the assassination. They actually say it toward the very end of the episode. Yeah, they say that for the very end, and then make some changes to which I actually appreciate these changes. Yes, I do appreciate that. So after chasing him around, of course, Lala tries to... Of course, they make a funny joke, basically, for Zest, where he disappears. Now, in the manga, he just abruptly starts fighting Golden Darkness because there's no explanation for it. In the anime, he stops because he fell into a sewer. Yep. And then Lala takes on for a good period of time, and they end up at a temple, which is the same place they up in the manga. And then they show up who was actually really behind this. A guy who looks like Emperor Pilaf from Dragon Ball Z. No joke about that. He seriously does look almost exactly like him. He probably is a ripoff of the character. And of course, like the Rocket Man from episode 9, he's the guy who really wants to marry Lala. Like almost every single guy in the universe wants to marry her because she's smoking hot. Oh yeah, brings his frog in. Of course, what he does to Darkness, that's pretty much the same as it is in the manga. Same thing with Lala. Though at least they kept a little more clothing with her than the actual manga itself. Though they do make a big change here. And this is actually a really good change because Rito does nothing in the scene in the manga. And in my opinion, this is actually an excellent change, in my opinion. Where he jumps in and protects Lala from a second plasma attack to punch the guy, then have Lala beat the crap out of him. Which, kudos for the anime for making that change. Because I'm sure anybody read them like, really? He's the main character of the series and he doesn't punch this idiot? And he punches it because it's like, that was my favorite hoodie. He basically was melted down to his underwear. At least he's not completely naked. And of course, also is the funny bit, which they keep this in the manga, when Darkness falls over, basically her butt is in his face. And yeah, it's most sex jokes here. And of course, he does get hit with her hair, which he can transform into a fist. And then after he's beaten, he basically sent out the space by Darkness. And despite the fact Darkness basically was lied to about the assignment, she's still going to kill him anyways, but not just yet per se. And of course, Lala calls her Yumi, which, of course, and here's the thing. Rito's like, why do you call Yumi for? Her name is Golden Darkness. It's like, well, Yumi's a more appropriate name to call her than simply Darkness. And Darkness is like, I don't care, it's fine. And they walk out. Of course, she says, I'm still going to kill you. Yep, that's as simple as that. Yep, 12. A Field Day episode. Of course it is. Yep. It can't be a high school anime without featuring a episode where it's Field Day. Surprisingly, a lot of the time, basically, when I've seen this, usually the parents are there for this. This one, nope, there's not. Of course, thing starts off basically not at Rito's house. Nope, starts at school where Rito accidentally lifts up Haru in a skirt, and once again he gets slapped. Of course, he does on the stairs. And then they show off the actual Field Day itself. First, it's actually a handoff baton race. I've done this before. It's interesting, but I'm not really fast of a runner. And then, of course, first they have a test, basically, like a contest called a scavenger hunt. And his test is to remove the gym shorts from a girl. And apparently, I don't know if it was Lala who did this. We're like, oh, let's just basically drag him straight to Haru and have him pull down her shorts. Oh yeah, he gets slapped for it too. Oh yeah, and by the way, Run is in the episode. He's fighting a legendary sword, a big hunking sword, which he uses and proceeds to slice the field in half, along cutting the building in half too. Then they have a mock cavalry battle. This is actually the second anime I've seen this in, because this has also been, actually I've seen this a few different anime. This has also been Isekai Quartet, My Hero Academia. I think that's it. Yes. So, because we have fan service, and of course, Cesaru's like, okay, let's switch from running the field to running in the pool with some suits. And the person was like, yeah, it's perfectly fine. Put them in swimsuits. Good at swimsuits. And of course, there's a device basically used to basically strip all the girls basically their tops. Though in the case of Haruna, basically, this is actually quite interesting that he does this. He actually just covers her up, basically, and just carries her straight to nurse office, though he proceeds to put, like, another swimsuit on her to cover her up. And, of course, they're about to confess, and then Lala shows up. Of course, she won the mock battle. And, like, he used a door. Now, normally, like, he had sort of a fantasy, like, oh, no, he was going to grab her chest this time, basically, stop him. No, he just covers her. Yep, covers her. And it's kind of a reflex that he's doing now. He did the same thing next episode as well to another character. And, of course, he does Lala. That's the end of the episode. Next episode's interesting. Now, this is loosely adapted from chapters 47, 48. Now, this is the episode that uses Lala's father, Gid Deviluk, who is a midget. I am not kidding about that. He is really freaking short. Oh, yeah, he refers up as the supreme ruler of the universe. Also, fun fact, guess who does his English dub voice? David Wade! Awesome! Good job, Sentai Filmworks. You chose an excellent voice actor to voice this guy. And it makes perfect sense he would voice a father. It's like, at first, like, wait, is that Patrick Stoltz or Chris Abbott? Like, no, it's David Wade. Yep, David Wade. Where it introduces, they do a slight change here with this one. It shows him off in his outfit. Of course, they hide the fact what he looks like. And he basically just conquers the planet, no problem. And then they show, well, basically the rich girl who's got a thing, Sarita, who's got a thing for Rito. And she, one of her assistants proceeds to use, basically tie up the disciplinary woman who also got a thing for Rito in a bondage-style tie-up, which, of course, well, he tries to untie it, and, of course, Lala proceeds to have her scissors invention to cut up the rope, but also cut her outfit, too. And Rito doing the sensible thing, covering her up. Yep, just basically hugging her, hiding her chest, though basically part of it is basically poking her. And of course, this is also prevent the pervy male students from basically peeping at her. And of course, Haruna basically comes to basically covers her with a jacket to cover her up, which that's actually pretty smart to do. And then we had this thing where this mysterious, beautiful woman watching him. Yeah, this is actually Lala's father posing as him. Of course, he's informed that Lala's father is coming to visit, and you're like, oh crap, my future father-in-law is coming to visit. Now, this actually is a change from the manga here. Oh yes, they actually changed the scene. Because how he meets Lala's father is different how it is in the manga. Also, he's in a lot more than just a couple brief scenes. In the manga, the guy is a freaking pervert. Because he basically flips girl skirts up, gropes like a lot of female students, including Haruna, and basically drag him to the roof. That's where he finds, oh yeah, this kid is actually Lala's father. I at least got hands in the anime. This introduction was actually handled a lot better. Like, oh, we had this mysterious, seductive woman who was basically, of course, Rito was actually brought. Now, Rito also was helping Haruna take up the trash, which that's kind of what they do in Japan. They have clean up the classroom, even though this is normally the janitorial's job, but okay. Then, of course, like, as soon as basically, like, they're about partway through, they talk for a while, and then, of course, like, go to the roof, and, of course, it's a school nurse. Like, talk, and, of course, there's another mysterious woman who wants to seduce them. And, of course, that this is actually just, well, kid basically using her and finding how much wimp he is because of the fact he finds out all these women throw themselves at him, and he's probably like, man, you are such a lucky guy to have all these beautiful women throw yourself, including my own daughter. And he's like, yeah, because I'm just that good. Yep. And of course he tries to hurt him and try to hurt the earth as well. Look, if Lala shows up, tells him to knock it off. Now, this actually is a change in the manga of what she did. Here's what she did in the anime. Tells him, like, if you hurt him, I won't forgive because he's precious to me. And it's like, fine. If you feel her, then I won't. That nothing she'll say will prevent me from killing you. And that's a lot better than what it did in the manga. Like, oh boy. It's like, oh yeah, I won't marry him if the feelings are there. Which, I at least appreciate how the anime changes this, because I think the anime handled the scene a lot better. I like what some of the anime stuff did a lot better than the manga. And of course, you want to develop a device to erase everybody's memories of her. And it only works on her bodyguard. Yep, only works on the bodyguard for some reason. I don't know why. Yep, but I at least got a hint to the episode. It's actually pretty good. And what the anime did, it's basically done a lot better than what basically the manga did. Changes they made are perfectly fine. I have personally no problem with it at all. But all in all, I'd say probably the most useless episode of these ones is episode 10. This is a complete pointless episode. Nothing really much to matter here. Same thing in episode 9. It's complete. Yeah, 9 and 10 are just skippable episodes. Aside from the fact 9, the only thing you can say about episode 9 that at least is a good moment for the series is the fact the school nurse finds out Lala is an alien. That's the only thing interesting about it. 10, old friend, kind of a lame episode. And of course, Hana slapping Rito a lot. I'd say 11, 12, 13 are actually pretty good episodes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next review will be 2 comic corners. Yep, 2 comic corners. First, discussing 2 Marvel trades. One that came out recently, the other one came out several years ago. And then the following will be 2 trades from Image Comics. From a series I haven't reviewed in probably a year. You'll find out what they are soon. Okay, to the next video. Bye.